Thank you for joining me on my first ever podcast. I'm excited to have you on to talk about your experiences in hospitality, business, marketing, and specifically the Taste of New Paltz. For the listeners out there who don't know, our guest today, Kathy Prizzia, is currently the Executive Director of the New Paltz Regional Chamber of Commerce. And as a leader of an organization with a small staff, she takes a super active role in growing the organization on the ground level by meeting with and working directly with members on their businesses. So, she is very aware of what's going on in businesses in the area and the issues local businesses are dealing with right now. In addition to all of that, and having been the chair of the Taste of New Paltz multiple times, she was also the proprietor of her very own restaurant, 36 Main, in New Paltz, worked as the assistant director of food and beverage at the Rocking Horse Ranch, and was previously the general manager at a New Paltz favorite, P&G's, for over 15 years. So, today we're going to get some of her thoughts about marketing, particularly for small businesses and restaurants, as well as the Taste of New Paltz and how to get the most out of doing such events. So, firstly, thanks for taking the time to talk with me and share your knowledge with the listeners out there.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
So, our first question today is kind of a general question about the state of things in the area. So you have a great ground level approach to running the chamber. I know that because you've taken a bunch of time to sit down with me and meet with me about various topics to grow my own business. So being that you're so involved with the members on a personal level, how would you describe the current business climate in the Hudson Valley?
I think the current business climate in the Hudson Valley is doing very well. We're in July, which is the busy season and peak busy time for the Hudson Valley. The summer and fall are particularly good. We're a very large tourism-driven area, and the weather's been fantastic. It's proven well for some major events in the area, the major events that are coming up, and our apple picking and picking season and our leaf peeping season should also be very positive. I base this also on, I look at Dutchess County and town of Ulster in Kingston and Ulster County, and there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of building. You see large projects moving forward in healthcare and car dealerships, and that tells me that people are out there spending money, and that's a good thing.
Awesome. So I don't know about you, but I have noticed a particular mentality among certain struggling businesses in the area, a mentality of being small and not needing to do marketing or, something to that effect, or not even being able to afford to do marketing, things like that, or do professional photography like what I do. What would you say to those businesses?
I think marketing is as important to a business as making a budget for your payroll. You're promoting your business, and what you spend on promoting your business should come back in return, at least 5 times that. Marketing it should be in your budget every year. I think there should be a marketing plan for different strategies, whether your marketing includes radio advertising, print advertising, digital advertising, mailings, how you gather that information, and I think that there are at least 4 or 5 different angles that you attack your marketing from. It's all of your customer base is not one dimension, and I think that your marketing needs to be in many different platforms as well.
And I also find a lot of local businesses tend to misunderstand the terms marketing, branding, and advertising and either conflate them or simply have a negative view towards them. They think, oh, I want to grow organically, or that maybe they've tried one type of marketing tactic and didn't necessarily see the results that they wanted. Have you noticed that as well? And if so, what would you say to businesses that say they've tried it and it doesn't work?
Well, I think what's equally as important of marketing is finding out how people learn about you. How you have to have in place how to learn how your marketing is working, and that's really telling you, how you're getting the word out there, how effective that word is for you, and where you want to invest more of your marketing dollars. Again, when you're creating the budget, are people finding you via Google searching? Are they finding you by word of mouth? If they're finding you by word of mouth, then you create a stronger customer appreciation base and you do like a friends and family discount or that sort of thing where someone gets a reward for being able to promote your business, and then that person that they promote to gets a discount for coming in. There's a lot of really great avenues to do this that doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And I think depending on what the business is, there's a lot of really great opportunities. Again, there's many different avenues to do that, whether you're marketing via social media, which a Facebook ad can cost as little as $5, or you can spend more on it. Or if you're looking at a billboard, there's different price points, and I think that there's different opportunities that people can take, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. But you really want to know how people are learning about you and strengthen that, and then you know where you can invest more money.
Mm-hmm. And if you have very limited resources and you're still kind of starting out, what would you recommend for tools to be able to market on the cheap or find out how people are learning about you?
I think it's very simple as, market from within your business. There should be proper signage on your business, the outside of your business. There should be proper, there could be a note at the cash register. How did you hear about us? You can have a little drop-in card where people can fill out a card and fill out their name, address, phone number, email address. Then you're creating your database for sending out, say, a digital email, and that newsletter that you could send out, whether it's once a week or once a month. You're making contacts with people. You can send them discounts. You can send them coupons, sales material. Programs such as Constant Contact, I believe that's free still. You can use that. There's also creating events on Facebook. I think that they're very effective. A lot of people spend a lot of time on social media. You can set it up that you can post your events on Facebook, connect it to Twitter, have your LinkedIn all make connections, do across the board a social media connection. These things are free. They're very valuable. People are very connected to their phones. They want to constantly be stimulated. I think they're very easy. A very organic way is really from your employees. I think that your employees need to be able to talk up not just what's in the store, what's in your business at the time, or whatever program you're promoting, but then be able to say, find us again because we're working on this, and we've got this coming up, or our chef is working on this menu, or we've got this sale coming up, or come check out this new material that's coming in. And I think those are really great ways to inspire people more. It might not occur to them to, put in a new walkway or try something else for dinner. And then at the same time, take some of photograph work that you've already done, whatever that may be, and pictures sell. Pictures sell tremendously. And I think if you're able to share those pictures on social media, in a newsletter, and show what the finished work is, because that's what really gets people's attention. It's not even so much words, but what those photographs are. Photograph work that you've done and use that to promote.
And can you talk a little bit more about how to understand if your marketing is working, other than, say, more sales? What are other things that you can use to judge whether your marketing is working?
I think it's as simple really as having your staff trained properly. Absolutely. It could be when you answer the phone and someone's calling you to make a reservation, say, this is great, how did you hear about us? And really get some feedback that way. I also think that you can put a little card. Again, if people are filling out to win a gift certificate or some discount, you're gathering that marketing material and creating your database, but you can ask them also, where did you hear about us? And there could be a little check mark at the bottom, whether it was a Google search or whether they heard about it from a friend or they just happened upon you, if they're a tourist or in the area, or maybe they saw your ad in a publication or even, heard about you through the Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then can you talk a little bit about the importance of quality in terms of, having quality-looking website or having quality-looking photography or quality of graphic design, those types of things?
Oh, tremendously huge. I think that, as I said earlier, photographs sell. Photographs are amazing. They look fantastic. Websites, that is your face. Until people step in your store, in your location, in your business, your website, your Facebook page, your photographs, that is a sample of your work. Whatever your work is, that's a sample of your work, and it needs to look excellent. It needs to look amazing. It needs to be perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then from there, you entice them to try your restaurant or call you about landscaping, and that's got to be your best face. You've got to put that out first. There's a lot of competition out there, and I think that's critical.
So when I'm talking to people, and as people listening to this may or may not realize, I'm a photographer. And when I'm talking to potential clients or new startups, a big thing I hear is, oh, well, we're so new and we don't have the budget for that and that kind of thing. How do you decide when is the right time to, say, hire a designer or hire a photographer to promote you?
That's a tricky question, tricky answer. I think that, all different businesses have different budgets. I think that it needs to be more important even than your own payroll in the very beginning. And I say that simply because when you're marketing yourself properly, you're guaranteeing your payroll in 3 months and in 6 months. So to sacrifice 1 or 2 paychecks for yourself in the beginning to be able to invest in your business, and this is investing in your business because you're going to spend some money on some really quality photographs that you're going to be able to use for the next couple of years. That to me is really, it's investing. It's investing in putting your best face out there. Absolutely, it's important.
So I want to talk a little bit more about your experience specifically. So can you tell me about how your understanding of the word and the concept of marketing has evolved throughout your career and the role it played in your successes or failures in various roles?
The places that I've worked have had different marketing strategies in place. I really started my career as general manager at P&G's, and I was there for a very long time. I was there for 15 years. And Michael Beck, the owner, is really very smart. He's very community-minded, born and raised here, raised his family here, and I think he's just got such a great philosophy. You put yourself out there, donating gift certificates to local organizations who then might use them for raffles and such. That's bringing people in. It's getting them to use that gift certificate, feel that they're able to treat themselves. They might spend a little bit more on something or spend a little time, and that's fantastic. You want them to experience your business. So I think that in a sense, marketing, absolutely, donating gift certificates should be part of your marketing. And then P&G's has been around since 1947, so they did not necessarily have the same marketing approach that I had to apply when I started 36 Main. 36 Main, I started from scratch. So our marketing there was totally different. We did marketing in Hudson Valley Magazine, food publications, really tried to put ourselves out there. We used a lot of social media. This was 2008 when Facebook was really just starting. MySpace was out there. MySpace was starting to become defunct, and Facebook was up and running. And you learned as you were doing it that you could really take a picture of your specials from that night that your chef created and drink specials and put it out there. And you had people so looking to be inspired and entertained. And that's really when the food movement was taking off also, and food shows were really starting to get popular, and people weren't just going out to eat anymore. They were going out to be entertained. The food itself and the dining experience was the entertainment. They were definitely looking to be wowed because they could just stay home and try a new recipe and probably save some money. So going out really needed to be a fantastic experience on many levels. So marketing was very different, and social media and technology was changing a lot then. So I think that at that time it was really staying flexible. And things changed as we were open. 36 Main was open for 4 years, and we had started with a website, and then it was really about keeping the Facebook page really interesting and ever-changing, interesting. That's really the best word I can put for that.
So I know 36 Main was obviously on Main Street, and
Yes.
For anybody that has never been to New Paltz, Main Street is where it's at. There's pretty much not anything else going on most other streets except Main Street. So if you're on Main Street, you can walk by and see what's there. So where would you say most of your customers from 36 Main actually found you? Were they mostly like college students or people that walked by, or people that found you online or through your ads? What would you say was the most successful way that you found customers there?
Well, the beauty of New Paltz is that we are located, there's a college located in our town, and we are definitely a very large tourist destination, and that is critical in bringing a new dollar to our community, because we really need that. It's critical for us. The majority of our customers, definitely tourists in tourist season, but at the same time, we were very much a very comfortable local neighborhood restaurant, and I really like that. I like that people would walk there in the winter or come and enjoy an appetizer or a beverage, and it felt very at home there. It was not pretentious at all. It was warm and welcoming, and I think that really made us feel very accessible. Accessible, and I appreciated that. A lot of our business, definitely locals, and even people from Dutchess County would come over and check us out. It was lots of fun.
So I know that we all crave success, and it's often said that you learn more from failure. So what would you be able to share as a failure that you've had while you're running your restaurant, what you learned and how you were able to bounce back?
I think that there's learning opportunities every day, and there's certainly trial and error, and again, I'll go back to technology, how much that has changed since 2008. I think that we always have to keep our eyes and ourselves open to opportunities to learn and try new things, and things do work, and sometimes things don't work. One of the things that was a plus of 36 Main is that we were a very creative restaurant, and we changed our menu seasonally. So we generally did 4 menus a year, and we really prided ourselves on being individualized in that way. And creative, again, is really the key word here. But then at the same time, we would have people come in and not stay because we didn't have a really approachable chicken dish on the menu, something that really spoke to someone's comfort level, or if someone wasn't a foodie per se, that wasn't really a place for them to eat. They would kind of struggle. Towards the end of the 36 Main's run, we had a burger on the menu, and it was high-end burger, really fantastic ground beef, hand-cut fries, the whole nine, and that ended up really being like the go-to, approachable, safe food item for some people. And, again, at a time where, food was booming, I think that there are people out there who are going to go out to dinner and really want something that's comfortable and easy and reliable. And we weren't that. So what was our strength was also a weakness at the same time. So that's interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. I mean, that kind of speaks to the fact that not every business is for every person.
No, not every business is for every person. Not everyone, not every individual and customer base has the same needs, and not everyone offers the same product. So I think what does do well for some might not do well for others. And, the beauty of that is there's different price points and there's different opportunities, and you can't be everything to everyone. I think the true key to success is to stay flexible, because you're not just being focused on whatever that one craft is. Your focus is on being successful. So I think really listening to your customer base, or listening to if a price point might be too high or something's not selling. Is it the product? Is it the price? Why might that not work? And I think, throughout 36 Main's tenure, there were times we had a $5 bar menu, so that I could get people to come in and spend even $5 on a little appetizer, where $8 and $10 might not get them in regularly. But if they came in and had 2 $5 appetizers, that would cover what I needed to cover to still cover our overhead, our payroll, our rent, all the expenses of running a business. So I think the real importance here is you're committed to being successful, which you never want to lose sight on that, and you stay flexible in order to do that.
And I think it's also important to remember that because not every business is for every person, it's very important to, like you said, listen to your customer base and really know who your customers are, so that way you can actually serve them even better and kind of not worry about the people that are never going to be interested, and really cater to the people that are interested.
Yeah. When I remember, when we first opened our doors, I watched people come in and sit down at the bar, and I was really reading their body language. And I know up to that point, I was spending so much time over the wine list and making sure this was from California, and this was Old World, and this was New World, and different price points, and really making sure it was creative and fun. And then it occurred to me, I would watch people come in and sit down and not even look at a wine list and say, I'll have a glass of Chardonnay. So that glass of Chardonnay, or I'll have a glass of Cabernet. And it was like, okay, so some people really, they're not going to know what brand Chardonnay or Cabernet they're drinking, but they're going to remember how much they spent on that glass of wine, and their perception is, oh, was that $8 or $10 glass of wine too much? And what that really should be. So I definitely really, I learned a lot from our customers. I would watch them and really see, what it is that they were doing, and, study the check and what some feedback was on something that might be too expensive or not expensive enough. And you want people to return and have a good experience. So sometimes it was more about the atmosphere. It was more, there were so many other components to it. So when you're looking at, I'll say restaurant, because that's what I've had the majority of my experience in, it's not just about the lamb chop on the plate, and it's not just about the Cabernet. It's about the lighting. It's about the sound. It's about, the whole experience, and people being comfortable in a space and wanting to return.
Right, and that's really important. And I think a lot of, chef turned restaurant owners forget that, because they're coming at it from being a chef and being obsessed with the food. And I mean, it's not bad. It's totally fine. It's like me being obsessed with photography and coming at marketing from a photography approach. And it's just one of those things where you got to kind of rein it back in a little bit and remember that there's other aspects to creating a successful business. And it's not just about having the best product of whatever it is that you're actually producing, but remembering that there's other aspects to what you're producing. So like with the restaurant, it's not just the food, it's the whole thing. It's the sound, the lighting, are the chairs comfortable? Like, what does the table look like? Is it clean? Are the people nice? Wherein for me in photography, it's not just how the pictures look, but it's that whole experience of what's it like to work with me, and what's it like to, go through that creative process, and are you completely leaving it up to me to decide whatever I want about your pictures, or how involved are you in that creative process kind of thing. So it's not just about what the pictures look like at the end, but it's also about how they are made, and how you're going to use them, and things like that. And in the restaurant, it's not just about the food; it's about everything. Yeah.
As a chamber executive, I get business owners to not just look at what their craft is and what that proposal is on a piece of paper, but step outside and look at what's your curb appeal. You're talking about photography, and photography is creating virtual curb appeal, and I think that's hugely important. You step outside, and it's your job to make sure you have a very visible sign that's easy to read so people can find you, and the outside of your business needs to be clean and well maintained, and it's important to be neighborly. It's important to sweep the sidewalk, and sweeping the sidewalk, I think, means a whole lot of things to how you really care the front and back of your house. It's just as important.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you gone to a restaurant and you use the restroom and it's a disaster in there?
And that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes, yeah.
But how different is that experience when you go to a restaurant and you're not expecting the bathroom to be nice, but the bathroom is outstanding?
My husband and I actually rate bathrooms in some sense. He'll come back, or I'll come back and be like, oh my God, you got to check that out. They've got the coolest sink, or you should see the lighting, or this or that. Or they have the best hand towels. Yeah, little things. And it shows the attention to detail. Absolutely. It speaks to the experience.
For sure.
Yes.
So what were the bathrooms like at 36 Main?
So funny. Okay, so the men's room was different than the women's room, and the women's room definitely was more girly and a little bit shinier, and it had just more feminine fixtures, and it had, a really nice, looked like a small piece of luggage, a little basket that always had all the lotions and feminine needs and everything in there, and it was beautiful, and really beautiful art in the women's room. Then the men's room, certainly more clean lines, darker paint. There was also a brick wall in the men's room, which lended to the masculinity, and we painted that brick wall, and just a totally different vibe. It didn't have all the little niceties that the ladies' room did, but really, really beautiful art in the men's room. I want to say it was like the picture of a back of a woman with a low-cut dress. So it was a little bit sexy, but really beautiful.
It's appropriate for a wine bar.
Yeah, right? I thought so. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I love it when you go to a restaurant or, some kind of establishment, and in the restroom there's like a basket of lotion or like various supplies that a woman might need but not carry on her.
Mm-hmm. We want to feel catered to.
Really
Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. It's a nice detail.
That's right.
That a lot of places don't think of, and it's great. All right, so I know that you were the GM for P&G's for a really long time, and then you owned your own restaurant for about 4 years. So what was the biggest shift that you had to go through between being a GM, an employee, and being an owner, proprietor of an establishment?
That's a big question with a lot of different components to the answer. I would say the financial stress of owning your own business is tremendous. You are not just carrying your own financial stress, but 36 Main employed, I want to say 16 individuals and families. And it's very important and it's very personal when you are employing people and they are supporting their family on that. So there was definitely a tremendous amount of stress on that. That I would say is probably the number one stress of carrying the financial stress. Like I said, P&G's had been in business since 1947, and I worked at P&G's from 93 to 08. So, that had been around for 50 plus years at that point. So its customer base was established, and, we weren't looking at marketing so much there, just different ways to be creative and keep the food interesting, because we had people eat there several times a week. Whereas 36 Main, we were really creating who we were. And as much as I had this vision in my head, it also evolved. And that was really, really exciting to see. Really interesting to see how the space came alive and how everyone enjoyed it.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, on that evolution?
Well, when you start with something, you start with this concept in your head of literally the color of the paint on the walls and how I like to go out to eat. I was 36 when I started 36 Main. How much money do I have to spend? What do I think is of value? Whenever you're spending money dining out or being entertained, there's got to be value in doing that and what that price point is. And I think that changes for people. That varies. And we tried to hit as many of those points as possible. Then, so you're creating this literally from scratch of, like I said, paint color on, and you've got, I really enjoyed picking out the dishware and the flatware and the stemware, and I always enjoy really quality stemware when enjoying wine, and enough weight in a knife or a fork, and the feel of something in your hand, I think speaks to the quality of that, and that also lends to the quality of the meal. So the details were there of, white plates, white napkins, because the center point, the focus was the food on the plate. It wasn't other components on the table. I actually didn't want those as distractions. But then having it just evolve of people use the space, and once the space actually got occupied, then you realize, well, it's kind of loud in here. So we battled a little bit with sound and trying to get some cushion in sound in there, sound absorption and such. We originally started with our couches and this really comfortable lounge area in the back of the restaurant. And then we eventually moved it up by the bar because we saw that as an extension to the bar. And we left the tables in the back. So people actually like the cozier table area, but then we moved the couches up front and it was an extension for the bar, and people had a place to sit and enjoy their drink while they waited for a table. So there were some ideas, and then again, how the space was used, again, staying flexible and just had it evolve, and all good stuff.
Okay. So now let's move on a little bit from that. I know that you have been involved with the Taste of New Paltz for quite some time now.
Yes.
On basically all sides that you
Yes.
can be involved on. And I know I've heard you say it's more than just, quote, a food event. It's a marketing event.
That's true. That's true.
That is a direct quote.
It's a direct quote, and it's true. The Taste of New Paltz was started in 1990, and in 1990 there were not food events the way there are today. Today there's many food events. Your calendar is flooded with food event opportunities every weekend, and how you want to go and what are beneficial to all of them. They're all fun, and they're doing a great job promoting. This isn't just a food event, because you're not just going and having a meal and listening to music and sipping a craft beer or tasting wine and going home. This is about experiencing something new. We offer tastes of food, not necessarily plates of food. The tastes of food are for $2 and $3 each, and those tastes are then for you to try a restaurant that you would never try, or it's a great opportunity for the restaurant owner to come out and bring their marketing material, bring copies of the menus, bring copies of their business cards, take their restaurant and take a sample of that restaurant and set up shop for a day at the county fairgrounds and show what they can do. And it gives all of the attendees an opportunity to experience that restaurant and look at their menu and say, oh, this looks great, and taste food, and you're taking a bite and you're enjoying it and you're reading the menu, you're saying, this is great, I'm going to come back. And you keep a copy of that menu with you. You go home, you tack it up on your fridge, and you make plans to gather friends and go there for dinner again and check it out. That's what it's about. But it's not just food. There's also the business expo. So if you are, if some people are moving to the area, there's realtors there, there's lawn guys there, tree trimmers, bath fitter. There's always life insurance, and there's always opportunities there for you to meet someone, even solar companies. If you're a local homeowner and you're looking for some more information, you can go around, you get a couple minutes of FaceTime, you get to shake a hand and meet the owner and take some marketing material. And again, make contacts. I think it's a great way to meet people as community, and anyone who's outside the community who wants to learn more about the Hudson Valley and spend time here either for a day trip or for a weekend or come here on vacation. I think it hits all of those points. It's a great day.
So can you tell me a little bit about your experience on the vendor side of the Taste of New Paltz? How many times did you do it as a vendor, and what was the biggest challenge that you faced in doing it? Kinds of things.
As a vendor, well, I ran the P&G's booth many times as the Taste, and then 36 Main did it also. And when I was running it for the business, I was also chairing the restaurant portion of the Taste of New Paltz. So I always got both sides of the perspective of it. As a vendor, as a restaurant vendor, there's some fees that are associated with it, and those fees are designed to cover renting the fairgrounds, marketing the event, renting the tents and tables and linens and everything for your space, your space specifically, as well as the Board of Health permit that comes with it. So there's a lot of costs in putting the event on, and being a vendor covers those costs, and being able to have some money to have a nice advertising budget to promote this event and bring people to the area for the day. We promote this event to 5 different states. So I see how that covers it, a good portion of it. As a vendor, you're going to have potential new business at the event. Preparing to serve food at the Taste of New Paltz requires being very organized. You have to prepare everything on site. You're not just reheating food. So like with P&G's, we would bring out our fryer and do chicken wings, and we would bring out a gas grill and a big pot, and we would make clam chowder and a big grill and grill ribs. So there's a lot of components to staffing. You actually have to have your cooks with you, and then front of the house staff to smile and hand out your menu and pass out samples and talk up your business. So you're still creating the front of the house and back of the house as a restaurant there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that speaks back to what you were saying about making sure that your staff is trained properly. I mean, because especially at like events like the Taste, I know it's in September, but I've gone a few times and it's really hot.
Yes.
And you need to think about like, okay, are my front of house people still going to be friendly after like 3 hours in the heat?
Well, that's definitely a piece of it. The other piece of it is, and we said this earlier in the podcast, of making sure that your marketing is doing its job. And I think an important piece of the Taste of New Paltz and participating with the Taste of New Paltz is, how do you know if you actually made connections with people there? How do you know if those people actually came back to your business again? That's how you know if it's working. So I always encourage people, create a coupon, create some kind of handout, even if you stamp something on the back of a business card where people can come back again and, check out your establishment, enjoy dinner, followed up on a lead, whether it be about solar farms or any kind of alternative electricity sources. I think that's the biggest return. You want to do an ROI, return on investment, for participating in the Taste of New Paltz. How much new business did you get out of it? That's the bottom line. And you have to have those components in place before the Taste of New Paltz takes place. How many people are going to come back and find you again? And how are you going to keep track of that? Through, again, proper training with your employees, and that information getting back to the owner, getting back to literally dollars and cents of whether or not you covered your fees to participate in the Taste of New Paltz, and how much new business did you get out of it? Mm-hmm. And would you do another event like it? These are all things that you really need to know. This is where it really comes down to, it's not just a food event for the day. It's not about one day's sales. This is about creating new business for the next 6 months or years to come. That's the important piece of it. Again, whether it's a business card, phone call, follow-up, if you're collecting email addresses and information and you follow up again, follow up with a personal email or a phone call. Say, it was so nice to meet you. I would love to be able to sit down with you. Or you've got those coupons out there if it's a restaurant, and then come back. Your wait staff then needs to be trained, receiving those coupons. Oh, you came and enjoyed us again. There should be a second welcome there. Really, it's something really making a connection with that new customer, because you want them to come again and again and again. Oh, it's so great that you checked us out. So glad you came. Did you enjoy this? Did you enjoy that? Really talk up the establishment, and make sure that card gets back to the owner so the owner knows, or staple it to the check. The owner knows how much they came back and spent, how many new dollars are in your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have a post or two on my blog about things like this, and one of them specifically was about a restaurant week event. It's not quite the same as the Taste of New Paltz. It's more like the whole region has a special price for a prefix menu, mm-hmm. and I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. In the Hudson Valley, we have one Hudson Valley Restaurant Week. They have them all over the country, basically.
Yep.
And I have a post in there about how to be more successful through doing these events. And some of the things that you just said are definitely echoed in there. Having a plan going into it, knowing what your goals are for doing it, if it's to get more business in the future versus just getting more business right now, and then the importance of preparation and then follow-up and making those new customers feel loyal, basically,
yes.
And following up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so specifically, that could mean, at the event, you say you collect their email addresses and give them, you send them a special promotion to just the Taste of New Paltz people, afterwards, within like a month or something, hey, thanks for visiting us at the Taste of New Paltz, and come enjoy, a free cocktail or
yes.
whatever,
Yeah.
something to that effect to get them to come back and remember the great time and the great things that they did at the Taste of New Paltz,
Absolutely.
or whatever that event
mm-hmm.
was that they
Absolutely.
did.
And I think that I think particularly in this community and in this area, I think that people want to spend money at a business with the owner that they really like and they have a connection with, and is genuinely a good person. And I think that really, I think part of that is making people feel comfortable, making people feel welcome, and really feel like they're part of an establishment. They're more likely to return. Absolutely.
For sure. What's a big mistake that you see businesses make when they participate in Taste of New Paltz or other events like this? And what can they do to fix it?
I think that not properly prepared, and I think that it's important to, make yourself look the best it possibly can. And I think that there are, nice ways to do that, whether you've got a logoed tablecloth or you've got the proper marketing material. Some people might say, well, it costs so much money to print this or print that, but it's worth it because that's what people are taking with them, and that's what they're going to hand to another person. Oh, I checked this out. Here you go. That's got to make you look your best, hands down. And then at the same time, you gather their information for you to contact people. You can't rely on people picking up your marketing material and them contacting you. You need to either have some kind of giveaway at your table and collect email addresses and addresses and be able to reach out to them again. Make those connections. Show what your sale is. Show what you're capable of. Show the best side of your business. You have to be able to reach them again also.
Yeah, and another thing that I see a lot of, there's some local places that do this well, and there's some that don't do it so well, but that's having a loyalty program.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know, for example, there's a few coffee shops that I go to regularly, and they have one of them does have a loyalty program, and one of them doesn't. And it's so simple, but it's so nice. You know, I would always rather go to the one that has it than to the other one that doesn't have it, because I'm working towards something.
Yeah.
On that card, on the 11th drink is free. It's so easy. And a coffee drink, it costs a coffee shop nothing practically to have one drink, because it's coffee and you brew a pot, or, maybe it's espresso. But, it's like such a small cost. Like, what's the cost of a cup of coffee to a coffee shop? Not that much. But other one,
the feel good that comes along with getting something for free, and you're treating yourself, and you feel like you're being taken good care of by that business.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so that other coffee shop that doesn't have it, I keep bringing it up every time I go in. I'm like, oh, so do you have a loyalty card yet? Do you have a loyalty card? And they're like, oh, we're thinking about it, or oh, we're working on it. But it's like, I still go to it because that's the coffee shop I like in that town. But it's very like, oh, but why don't you? It's so simple, and it's a great way to give people that are regulars that reward, and encourage people who are not regulars to become regulars.
Well, that is their way of saying thank you, and we always want to be appreciated. We all always want to be appreciated, and we want to know that our business is valued, and that's the way that that's conveyed.
Right, and so that's, to bring it back to taste and to food events and things like that, a great way is whether you have a loyalty program or not yet, start one, and then let the business that is done on the Taste of New Paltz Day be part of that loyalty program.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be something free. It could be really a substantial percentage off that you might not normally offer. Maybe when you normally run coupons, if you're a retail location, it's normally 10% off, but after someone has hit so many, X amount of dollars, then you really give them a nice 25% off. You get them to continue to come into your store and see what you have, and they're able to earmark, oh, I'm going to save up, and I'll wait and I'll get this dress, and you might actually end up spending more when you get that 25% off or something. It's proven. If you look at Stewart's shops, they are a great customer-based company. They're based right here out of New York State. They're actually based out of the Saratoga area, but they have that loyalty card for buying gallons of milk, and it's proven over and over again. When people go in and they get their gallon of milk, they're not just getting milk. They're getting gas. They're getting snacks. They're getting whatever else they need. The families,
they're
getting ice cream. This is true, but it's proven over and over again. They're stopping for milk, but they're spending more money on other things as well, and it's very smart.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, and I know that I always look to like big Fortune 500 companies for inspiration because I know that if they're doing it, it works. Mm-hmm. And so figuring out a way to apply those bigger concepts from the bigger companies that have huge budgets to a smaller company that doesn't necessarily have the budget but wants to be able to take advantage of that tactic or that strategy is important. And I think a lot of local businesses, they either fail to see that or some of them, I mean, are obviously doing well, and some of them are more like held back by a mentality of being small.
Interesting, yeah. I think that, people are looking for dynamic new ways to grow their business if they're really looking up and looking out. And I think, just always look at opportunities for taking good care of your staff. I think really a business that proves to do well is one that's cultivating its employees and listen to them, because your employees are the ones that are making the connections with your customer base. And they know what customers like and don't like, and they know what's selling and not selling and what that feedback is. And I think that companies that do well typically show that they really listen to their employees and what that feedback is.
And so I'm sure that there are some people listening to this that may not have employees yet. What would you say to those businesses that might be a one-person business that don't necessarily have employees yet or are looking to start hiring, or maybe they're a freelancer or something to that effect, and they won't actually have employees ever because they just want to be a freelancer? What would you say to them about that?
Well, I think that anytime you provide a service or a product, I think that there should be some avenue for feedback. When you do that, you want to make sure that the customer is satisfied with the job so that they are either going to use your services again or going to recommend you. Again, we talk about how you're growing your business and from a very basic standpoint of recommendation and people bragging about, oh, I just got this done. I just got new kitchen cabinets and look at them, aren't they beautiful? And this company did that and I'd highly recommend it. And you want that customer satisfaction. Not just with them telling other people, but again, this day and age of the internet, if you're not providing service that's expected, you are going to get some bad reviews, whether it be on social media and people saying, oh, I just had this experience getting my oil changed and I'll never go back. Well, that's not just going to 1 to 5 years. That's now going to hundreds of thousands of people listening or seeing that, if it's shared, if it's commented on. So I think it's really important that whenever you're putting whatever that product is or whatever that service is out there, you want to make sure that you're doing that really well and that customer is more than satisfied, because it will spread like wildfire if they're not. And you're not going to grow your business that way. You want to grow your business, you want some feedback. How could I have done that better? Did I meet your satisfaction? And follow up in a month. How's it going? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything you need? That might also be an opportunity to follow up with a sales pitch of some sort. Well, you keep in mind we can always upgrade this or do this, and I think it's always important if you're doing a first-time job for someone, keep it really affordable so that they can maybe have some financing to expand on that or do another project again. So again, really having open lines of communication with the customer is really important, and making sure that they leave happy.
Mm-hmm. So I think we've had some really great ideas in this conversation, and I just wanted to bring it back to Taste of New Paltz for just a moment. So we really stressed the importance of preparation and training properly and having your marketing materials all ready to go and things like that. Do you have any tips or any workshops or anything like that you can point people to help them get prepared for going to this type of event?
Oh, absolutely. The chamber itself, we always hold a Taste of New Paltz preparation workshop. If you have any questions, you can always call me or email me. I'm here. I want you to have a successful event. I will do everything I can to help you have a successful event. Our speaker at our September luncheon is Ryan Scott from ProPrinters, which is located up in Hudson. Ryan's just incredibly smart, and he really has great ideas of helping people prepare, and it's not just print material, it's from all different angles. And that's all he's working on, really, is helping people build a successful platform and what they need to do. So, now is when you should be looking at the event. Now it's, the end of July. Do you have all your graphics in place? Do you have the successful photographs from last year? And use those photographs to create your marketing material. Share it on Facebook. Come find us. Come see us. Make sure you're connected with the event webpage also, Taste of New Paltz Facebook page, as well as tasteofnewpaltz.com. You should be sharing that everywhere because we're sending that out to 5 different states. You want to open your business to 5 different states. That's huge. And then at the same time, the day of the event, make sure you take lots of pictures of your booth space and yourself, and you can tweet it and share it and Facebook it and social media all over the place. And you're creating nice photographs for you to use again to market yourself at another event. You want those really great photographs of yourself and your fantastically logoed shirt or apron or area. It's really important.
Don't forget the food porn.
Don't forget the food porn. That's right. That's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. So that was really great and helpful, and I hope that everybody listening has gotten as much out of this as I have. And Kathy, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave our audience with?
I think that we pretty much covered it. Join us at the Taste of New Paltz this year. If you'd like to be a vendor, it's not too late to sign up. The Taste of New Paltz is Sunday, September 18th. It's from 11 to 5. We have a really great lineup of musicians, bands, magicians, petting zoo, pony rides, all kinds of great vendors, and it's going to be a great day. It's at the Ulster County Fairgrounds. We did drop the admission price this year. It is $5 at the door to get in, 12 and under are free, so it's a great kids event. We definitely encourage families to come. And this year we'll be offering craft beer, ciders, local wineries, and again, the rare beer experience. So it should be a great day.
Awesome. And how can people get in touch with you?
They can call me here at the Chamber, 845-255-0243, or check us out, newpaltzchamber.org. We just got a beautiful brand new website. It's really showing the best side of our business. There's taste applications on there, and you can always email me through there.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.